Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about a recent trip I did up to a place called Noosa. It's pretty much known for being like this super kind of fancy resort up the Sunshine Coast. It's going to be a longer video today too. I did take quite a few photos up there. So sit back, grab a coffee, some snacks, and yeah, I hope you enjoy this one. The coastline up there is actually pretty incredible. There's some amazing coastal trails, which I took full advantage of as well, and yeah, just some beautiful surf as well. I managed to get out in the water and a few golden afternoons up there. It's a great spot, very popular for people trying to get away from Brisbane. I wasn't too sure what the weather was going to be like. It was scheduled to be quite cloudy the whole week, so I wasn't too optimistic about having good conditions for taking photos, but luckily it actually cleared up quite nicely and I was able to have some really nice conditions. Throughout the trip I swapped between my Mamiya RZ67 as well as my 35mm camera, the Canon EOS 500 with the Sigma 35 lens as well. I was pretty keen on taking quite a few photos, and to be honest, the funds weren't saying much in terms of like having major funds for lots of medium format rolls, so it was a good alternative to have the 35mm, so I could kind of get a bit more carried away with that as well. I ended up shooting a lot of Portra. I swapped between 160 and 400 for, you know, the brighter days to those golden afternoons as well. First afternoon I took a short stroll through Noosa National Park. It ended up being one of those spots I headed back to a few times, so it was a good start to kind of suss out the different vantage points and find some spots I would like to come back to. The first thing that caught my eye were these palm trees. They were really nicely backlit by the sun and you had the ocean behind them. I ended up exposing for the shadows, trying to bring up some more detail in the leaves. I really enjoyed this frame. It had that very summery feel, and I think the green and the blue contrasted quite well together. Shortly after that I actually passed another vantage point, looking back at one of the coves there, and it happened to be like a sort of a frame within a frame. You can see the foliage at the front being the first frame. I feel there's quite a few things going on here with that high point kind of perspective. It kind of gives you an idea on the vastness of the beach and how tiny the people look as well. Afterwards I actually walked further down the national park, stopping at a few vantage points before heading down to this rocky pier. As you can see here, the golden light was coming across and spreading across the rocks, creating some really nice textures, and yeah, I like how these ones came out. At this point in the day I was actually shooting more 35mm. I wasn't finding many subjects that I was being drawn to that would suffice me using the RZ67, so I stuck to mainly 35mm at this point. And I was actually finding the 35mm scans were a bit less forgiving in the shadows. Say I underexposed slightly, I couldn't bring up the shadows as I might be able to do with the medium format shots. I think I want to upgrade the Canon EOS 500 to a different camera. I currently have the Nikon F in repairs at the moment, and I think when I get that one back and I start using that one, it might replace that one, because I did enjoy really using that when I had it for a brief period before it started to play up a bit. The next day I decided to head back to the national park. There was a few vantage points that I'd seen the day before that was quite interested in shooting in different light, so I thought I'd come back and this time shoot more with the RZ67. The pathways were filled with these really nice tall trees, adding some nice leading lines in the image, and also the golden light was coming through the trees, creating some really nice kind of atmospheric feel to that photo as well. This particular shot really stood out to me as well. I really enjoyed the sea mist in the distance there, and also the soft glow of the light seeping across the water, as well as the darker tone to the image create a nice kind of vibe to it. I think on this shot as well I was shooting into the sunlight, so I think I accidentally underexposed it a little bit, giving that darker feel, but I actually quite like how it came out. Like I said, afterwards I actually headed to Tea Tree Bay and ended up capturing a few flicks of people walking about. sun was starting to set at this point, but unfortunately there was quite a lot of cloud coverage, so there wasn't much light coming through. Although in saying that, like I said before, it was giving that ominous dark vibe to these photos. It also featured some nice silhouettes and also a sense of tone and that nice contrast to it as well. Lately I've been moving towards the more evenly lit, quite bright looking images, maybe because my Instagram feed kind of looks that way, so I've been trying to cater for that, which is not really what I want to do in the future. So I've been trying to experiment a bit more and switch that up quite a bit. Talking about experimentation, I've actually been reading quite a few graphic design books to try and change my mindset on a few things, and one of the topics, it talks about going to locations and photographing things from a lot of different perspectives to give you a lot of inspiration for how you see things and, you know, how you photograph or look at a certain subject. So I've been trying to do that when I photograph locations, and I think that's been helping when I'm shooting 35mm, because I have a bit more leeway to shoot a bit more and shoot from different angles and really try and get a unique perspective. So the next day I actually headed to Sunshine Beach. It's probably one of my favorite spots in the district of Noosa. It's a bit less popular and a bit more untouched, although it's not too far behind as it's getting more attention and kind of more people going to it. I also decided to go early in the day. I've been shooting a lot of golden hour, so I wanted to shoot at some more brighter light, maybe get some more contrasty images. That afternoon I actually focused on shooting only 35mm. I think I was enjoying the fluidness of not having the light meter and yeah, just moving around a bit more quicker than I could do with the medium format camera. Portra 400 definitely shoots that kind of sunny afternoon look and really complements the warmer tones to these images. I was really enjoying all the architecture in Sunshine Beach. Each home was very different to the next. I think they ranged from very minimalist, contemporary looking homes to these more mid-century eclectic looking types. This one felt quite European with its terracotta tiles and the white facades as well. Afterwards I headed to a lookout spot which hosted some incredible views of Sunshine Beach. And yeah, I marked this on my location so I could head back there the next day as well. I really enjoyed these photos. They had a lot of different textures to them. You had the wooden kind of staircase in the forefront, and you had the shrubbery around, you had the beach, and then all the different clouds as well. Created a lot of different textures. Before I headed back, I ended up doing another lap around the local area and capturing some pretty bougie looking homes. Noosa as a whole is a pretty expensive place to live and only continuously going up in price. So it's no surprise that it hosts some pretty incredible looking homes. I quite enjoyed the greenery you could see around these homes, adding more character to the quite contemporary looking ones. So I ended up heading back to that lookout point the next day with the RZ67, and yeah, I didn't capture anything too amazing as there was quite a lot of clouds still, so it wasn't the most amazing light, but yeah, this is the shots that I got. My last day in Noosa, I was struggling to find some new places to shoot at, as I'm not too familiar with the area, and I didn't want to just drive around aimlessly. I do like going for walks. I enjoy doing that a lot more, like finding one location and kind of going around the area rather than continuously driving all the time, because I just don't get into my rhythm. And I think you uncover some pretty cool spots when you're walking, because you go down places you wouldn't normally, I guess, drive down or look down if you're kind of looking to move to the next place all the time. So bearing that in mind, I ended up heading back to Noosa National Park, but I was quite glad I did, because I witnessed like the most incredible sunset with the most beautiful colors and just this crazy coastal palette. I think this was the first afternoon where there wasn't a lot of cloud coverage, allowing a lot more light to seep through and creating a lot more contrast and depth to these images as well. This was possibly one of my favorite shots from the trip. I really enjoyed how the greenery kind of curved around the photo, and it added to the many different layers you could see there as well. Shortly after, I actually headed down to the beach in one of the coves and decided to play around with the light and take some feet pics. These are just some previews, so if you want to see more feet pics, send me a DM just to give you a preview. These are how they came out. To finish off the trip, I got pretty lucky with the sky producing some incredible colors. Like I said before, this really like radiant pink throughout these images. Sometimes when you're shooting film, you really just don't know how an image is going to come out. But with this particular shot, I just had the feeling it was going to come out amazingly well. And I'm super happy that it did, because yeah, it just kind of blew me away. I just love the solitude of the lone surfer in the center of the image, and just the overall kind of cinematic feel to this one as well. I'm thinking about doing a limited run of prints for that particular photo. So yeah, if you're interested, send me a DM or something, and yeah, let's sort something out. So on that good note, I ended up my holiday in Noosa, and I was pretty stoked with being able to shoot on so many occasions and just being able to, you know, flex that photography muscle a lot. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the images. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it as well. This one was super fun to make, and I had such a good time. So yeah, follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of my film photography, and yeah, subscribe or hit that like button if you're enjoying my video or this one in particular, and I'll see you next time. Peace.